I never knew a mother nor a father.
You will be my instrument.
Who are you?
Did you hear that crowd? The greatest temple Rome ever built. The Colosseum. Because this is what they believe in. Power.
General Acacius, there are victories yet still to come.
Rome has so many subjects, she must feed them.
They can eat war!
The arena turns slaves into gladiators, then gladiators into free men.
You have something in you. I knew it from the start.
Did you now?
Aloha. This is Trinidad, the Island Man, your Island Man, coming to you live once again from beautiful Hawaii here on the island of Oahu, bringing you, yes you, the best movie reviews on the entire island of Oahu. And yes, this is Trinidad, the Island Man, your Island Man. And this weekend, opening weekend, what is this, the 21st, Thursday? Not quite the weekend, but opening for the movies. The new movie, Gladiator 2, is out, and I went ahead and I saw it. I have not seen Wicked Part 1, and I will not see Wicked Part 1. I'm sure it will be number 1 at the box office. Gladiator 2 will most likely be the second at the box office this weekend. Essentially, I've seen the play Wicked twice, once in Broadway, once here in Hawaii. So I know the story. And since this is only part 1, I have no desire to just watch part 1. I'd like to see a whole full movie, just like when I saw the play, the whole full story all at once. So, you know, maybe if they do a double feature when part 2 comes out, part 1 and 2 of Wicked, then I'll go see it. But I'm sure it'll do great at the box office. All right, but I digress. Remember, we're here talking about Gladiator Part 2. And remember our rating scale? Shaka Thumbs Up, it's good to see, I recommend it. Shaka Thumbs Down, it's junk, I don't recommend it. And, well, for Part 2 Gladiator, Gladiator Part 2, it is overall a Shaka Thumbs Down. Now, that does not mean that Ridley Scott did not try really, really hard in this movie. You know, and honestly, he did the best that he could. But, you know, everyone knows that this movie was pretty much doomed to fail without a Russell Crowe-like figure in it. Or at least, you know, maybe some force ghost of Russell Crowe spiritually talking to, you know, kind of like, you know, in Man of Steel, where, you know, it was, you know, Superman's dad talking to him on the spaceship through the hologram. Something like that they needed for this movie. But, you know, I mean, but they try. The third act of this movie, Gladiator 2, is where is its strongest. I'd say the first act of the movie is its weakest because it's trying to set up everything and where you are. If you thought at the end of Gladiator 1 with Russell Crowe's death everything was resolved and happy, and no, apparently not. Everything just continued to go downhill. 2 new emperors took over ruling the throne, and both were as crazy as Joaquin Phoenix's emperor. And without a Russell Crowe person there, pretty much things just continued to spiral out of control. And that's where we're left at the beginning of this movie, with Rome pretty much on its dying days, right? And then on top of that, we find out that basically the little kid, it turns out to be the little kid that Russell Crowe, you know, the Emperor's sister, that chick, who's in this movie, so that's a prop right there, was Russell Crowe's son, Maximus's son, you know, legitimate child. He was sent away because as these other two emperors, being adults, already take control of Rome, his safety is at stake, and so the mother sends him away, and of course he's lost out there in the world, and is raised without knowledge of where he is to his mother, and she suspects and believes him to be dead, until lo and behold he is brought in, captured, having lived in another land that is now, at the beginning of this movie, conquered, very much 300 kind of style, at the beginning of Gladiator 2, and is taken as a gladiator to Rome. So fate has brought him back home to do what his father left undone, apparently, at the end of the first movie, Maximus Aurelius, Russell Crowe's character. The other problem with this movie is that they split Maximus Aurelius's character, Russell Crowe's character, into two people. The man, the child who's now an adult, that, is now the gladiator, and Pedro Pascal's character, who is very much in the lines of Russell Crowe's character, for the people, doesn't like war, but he's a big general and forced to go to war for these crazy emperors that he must serve. And he looks to pretty much carry on what Maximus had started, gets his armies ready to dethrone the emperors, only to be undone at the end, thanks to an evil Denzel Washington, which is kind of nice to see him again return to evil one since his training days. But he gets to chew a lot of scenery in this movie and twirl his mustache, which he doesn't have in this movie, but pretty much he's doing all that. And he takes over Rome from these crazy emperors, in a plot and scheme, which is very grandiose. Now I'm basically just brushing over this plot, because there's not a lot of plot there. And it pretty much tries to follow the first movie, but again, it weakens it by splitting the Maximus Aurelius character into two, by not just directly following the child and growing up, having him already be grown up, and his lands fall and he's fighting for the other lands against Rome, and then is miraculously taken to Rome. Just kind of falls a little flat. Like I said, very 300-ish, because they do this big storm of this, this castle and stuff where he's at, and it's, it's okay. But, it's not as epic as 300 was, and it's definitely not as heartfelt as the original Gladiator with the Russell Crowe character. So, it's just a little weak up until the third act, where we really start to see, the young child, new prince, future prince of Rome, finally embrace his father and his mother's wishes, and to take over the throne from these crazy emperors, and Denzel Washington's trying to take Rome for himself. If not destroy it completely. So overall, again, a Shaka Thumbs Down. Definitely weaker than the first. If you've been really jonesing for Gladiator Part 2, if you like, those kind of sword and sandal older movies, you'll get some enjoyment out of this, because they try really hard with this. To do a decent job, and it's okay, but again, it just doesn't live up to the epicness of the very first one. So I can't give it my support of a Shaka Thumbs Up. So Shaka Thumbs Down overall for Gladiator 2. It'll probably be the second best at the box office this weekend, getting number 2 in light of Wicked Out. And other than that, it should do really well on streaming. So if you want to wait for it there, that's the best place to go ahead and see it, on streaming, at your convenience. But if you're really wanting to watch something else, then this is another choice other than Wicked for this weekend. All right, mahalo and aloha.